BowTie Barbecue Company at 6724 Waters Avenue in Savannah serves up barbecue both familiar and new, made by hand and made with love. Family friendly and relaxed, BowTie takes great pride in the by hand preparation of high quality beef ribs, smoked chicken, pork spare ribs, and more. Come join the BowTie family. Ask about our food truck and catering too. BowTie Barbecue Company, Southern charm naturally. Look for them online at BowTieBarbecueCO.com.
Live from BowTie Barbecue, this is the Danny Britt Show. Christian Gokel alongside the head football coach for your cadets, Danny Britt. And Coach, awesome to be sitting here on another game week. It is officially Survive and Advanced season, and you guys go take care of business against East Forsyth last week, and now we're here getting ready for another football game coming up on Friday night. I know this time of the year it's hard to think like that, but that's the reality, man. Some teams go home and other ones advance.
That's right, and very proud of the fact that we are continuing on, and excited to continue to prepare this week for what we have tomorrow.
And I know last week, kind of an odd situation. I don't know how many times you had a bye week before you started the playoffs, but you guys go through a bye week and then go up against a very good, motivated East Forsyth team coming off of a 6-4 season. And everyone in the media, I'll put myself in there as well, thought, hey, you guys come in and take care of business. But for 2 quarters and maybe a little bit more, East Forsyth gave you guys everything you could handle. And we were kind of talking before the show. Sometimes team just comes out and throws a perfect game, at least for a little while. And it seemed like East Forsyth, everything they wanted to execute, they were able to.
Yeah, they did. They came out with a game plan, and they were very well coached, and they executed it very well. They came out. We knew they were going to kind of put it in the phone booth and try to get first downs, third down and fourth down, go for it on fourth down, get the first downs, keep our offense off the field. And they were able to execute that to perfection. Obviously, when we got the ball to start with, we drove it down the field and scored. Almost too easy, I guess. And then they were able to just kind of wear the clock down. They would run the play clock all the way down to 3 or 4 seconds. And it was a well-executed game plan. It limited us to only 3 offensive possessions in the first half. So they did what they were wanting to do very well.
I think in real-world time, the first half took about 38 minutes, which is just unbelievable. And like you said, they wanted to shorten the possessions for you guys, but obviously that first possession, I thought, and we were talking about it in the pregame, I thought they would come out and just throw the kitchen sink at you guys defensively with zone blitzes and that. But really the first possession and the first couple in the first half, they dropped guys back, played cover 4, and just said, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to do it 5-6 yards at a time all the way down the field. First drive, you were able to do that. After that, I think they started mixing in some pressures, and this kind of had you off kilter a little bit offensively.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. The first drive, they kind of did exactly what we were anticipating them to do, and were able to execute very well. And then they started doing a number of different things, and I think they started feeling themselves a little bit as the first half went on, and was keeping it close, and we didn't help at all. We jumped all sides a couple of times. We took a sack, and just were in a situation to where we kept putting ourselves in second, third, and long situations that we just got to do a better job of not getting in.
I know penalties extending some drives for them, and they eventually go down and score on a sweet play that I thought was just executed perfectly from them. They got outside, seal blocked, and they had some ball players on their team, and they were able to score that touchdown. So you go into the half 7-7 there, and then at the half you embrace your inner Billy Bob Thornton, and look, it's you say it jokingly, but it rings true.
Right.
When you get to the playoffs, it's like, hey, if you want your high school football career to continue, you have to go take care of business in the next 24 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody was blowing up about, halftime speech. I don't think there was that much to it. Again, we, knew what we were expecting, and they executed very well. We did not. And I felt like the top was going to come off at some point, but we came in, and then we did have to say, like, hey, forever begins now. Like, it is right now is forever. And if we don't go out and execute and pull this thing out, then it's over, and you have to look at it to go, oh my God, we were that good of a team, and we lost in the first round to a team we should not have lost to. So they handled that, they accepted that, and immediately we came out and executed better in the second half.
some turnovers in the second half, and then the offense, like you said, executing. I want to start offensively. It seemed like you guys kind of got back to what makes you guys so talented, which is sweep plays, getting the perimeter, and having skill position guys who are unselfish and will block. And I know football advances, and there's all these different schemes and RPOs now, but for the most part, you guys are running toss sweep out of the shotgun, and to a devastating effect with the athletes that you have.
That's exactly what it was. You're running tall sweep, you're running quick pitch, just get them a little bit more on the perimeter, and that's what happened. And the skill guys executed. They blocked very well for each other. They did, and I rewarded all of them this Monday, by telling them that and giving them some T-shirts and stuff, because they just blocked so well on the perimeter. And that is a part of football now, and if you can do that, you can win a lot of football games.
And what I thought was special is you have a guy in Josh Washington who I think should be more heavily recruited, which is as talented as he is, but he's going in on a sweep play for a touchdown, and you have your starting running back leading the way, selling out. Your right tackle's getting out there, but also your 4, maybe 5-star wide receiver who's committed to Notre Dame is selling out on a block on a toss sweep for a touchdown. I mean, you talk about unselfish and committed to the cause, to buy into the program. I thought that play kind of exemplified it.
And that does, and that is what what we're trying to do, and what they understand that, and that's what it takes to be a champion. You have to do that. Everybody has to buy in, and everybody. And I tell you, part of it, it's kind of like I heard what Kirby said about being physical. Well, okay, if you want to go somewhere else and we're too physical, then we'll schedule you. Yeah. Same thing here. If you don't want to block, if you just want to come catch the ball, then you don't even come to Benedictine. That's not what we're about. It's not who we are. And we're going to do all of the above. And all of those guys are bought in and realize that's what it takes to be a champion.
And so you guys come out on defense to start the first half, and you guys get the stop. And you talked about a little bit in the post game. Usually we say when you go into halftime, it's not adjustments, it's coaching, and you just want to come back out and execute the game plan. Y'all did make an adjustment, though, in the second half, took a corner off and put in an extra linebacker and kind of moved Larson up into a bear front right there. And I thought once that happened, kind of shut down the inside run game for them. Yeah,
definitely. Basically, they were just – they kept attacking kind of away from LaDamian a little bit and attacking on the side of, to our Buck, who is more of a tweener, more of a nickel type guy. And so we pulled him off and put Larson there, and he was way more physical and, 210 pounds and, all those things. And we were able to shut it down right then. And almost immediately it flipped right there, and we put them in negative situations. They had to try to throw it, and that didn't work out very well.
Yeah, and then that went to devastating effect. I know a lot of those kind of teams say, hey, only one good thing can happen when you throw, and 3 bad things can happen when you throw, and that kind of happened for East Forsyth, where it just doesn't feel natural for them throwing the football. Mackay kind of reads the quarterback's eyes, which I thought watching it live, he was sitting back playing too high safety, but he was in coverage on another guy, switched off his guy, and picked off the football, which makes it even that more impressive of a play. And then Larson, a couple drives later, gets the big pick six. You talk about those 2 interceptions. I thought 2 guys with great eyes and being where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, one, you talk about Mackay. He is a unique guy. He is special. We Coach Moore, our secondary coach, and I were talking about that just yesterday. He made a play in practice. I'm like, I looked at Philip, went, how did he just do that? Yeah, that was just almost looked weird, like there was a glitch in there somewhere. Yeah. He just has unbelievable high hand coordination.
Right.
And but he did. He was in coverage on somebody else. He saw the quarterback. He read the quarterback and just smoothly picked it off. Larson always in position and got that interception. And what was impressive about that is all of the guys just busting their behind to get in front of him to lead him into the end zone. They wanted him in that end zone.
I was going to say, and he came all the way from one side of the field to the other to make the interception, and then made his way all the way back across the field to score the touchdown. I don't think there's anybody stopping him from getting into the end zone on that play.
That's right.
A few other performances from the game I thought were impressive. Aaron Mallard had a big performance, and I think I said it during the game. He catches the ball, is coming one way, stops, and comes back all the way across the field. It looked like it was going to be on a 17-yard gain, and then he turns it into a touchdown. And it's the only thing you can really compare it to is like Reggie Bush against Fresno State kind of stuff, where it's just it looks like he's playing against people 10 years younger than him.
It definitely that was sick. I mean, he made a move, made several moves completely laterally.
Right.
He was running full speed and then made a move laterally that was just I haven't seen that in a minute. Yeah. And it looked really, really good. And I know Steven said it in the Savannah Morning News, like somebody offered that kid.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
I mean, it got to. And you're looking at the numbers that he's putting up, benching and squatting, and the production he's getting with the guys around him that he has. Very limited touches every game. Somehow seems to find the end zone every game. That was unbelievable. And then I thought Stephen Cannon played a really good game. I know pressured in the first half, but he didn't make the mistake. And that's what Kevin and I were talking about at halftime of the game is like, yeah, it's 7-7, and everyone in the state's probably looking at this on Twitter right now going, oh, something's happening down there. But how many times have you seen where you're supposed to beat a team by 30, it's late in the second quarter, you try to press, and then you make the mistake that gives them hope going into the half? I thought he played well, got rid of the football when he was supposed to, and then when things were opening up in the second half, delivered.
Yeah, and they were doing a few things a little differently in coverage, which kind of delayed some throws. But you're right, he did a good job of just maintaining, getting out of the pocket, throwing it out of bounds, whatever he had to do. Put us in a good situation right before half to get the field goal.
Right.
And we missed the field goal, but that wasn't on the offense. The offense did a good job. I thought he did a good job of moving down the field. Ended up with 226 yards of passing. Now, like you said, most of them we would actually call a wide toss sweep because it was the bubble screens is what they were doing it on, but that's okay too. We'll take that. So, I thought he did a good job.
I think we're being honest. I think y'all had about 220 yards through the air, like 180 on the ground. We're being honest, it was probably like 350 on the the ground, and about 60, 70 through the air.
Right.
We'll take it. However we get into the end zone, we'll take it. And then defensively, just going back over there, wrapping that up. Defensive line, I thought played well. Jameer Lee stepping up with the absence of Isaac Scott, really getting his first start there in a big-time moment in the playoffs. And Cam Cody, borderline unblockable. Gavin Smith was unbelievable. I think Cam Cody had like 10 tackles in the game. Just those front three, and then LaDamian on the other side, I thought played really well.
Yeah, I thought the defense played well, but the D-line played well. Jameer did a good job of doing what he has to do. He came in and at first was getting moved a little bit, which is kind of normal for a young guy, and then really settled in the second half and thought played well. Cam was a beast. I didn't realize how much of a beast he was that night until I watched the film, but he ended up with 10 tackles from the nose guard spot and was just dominating physically. We ended up giving 3 Ball Hawk awards to Larson, Jaden, and Cam because they just all played really well and in there.
And I know it's been hard. I think some fans have spoken about this where, like, they hear us talk and they're like, okay, I know that Cam Cody and LaDamian Guyton are good because Christian and Danny keep telling me they're good, and those guys won't lie about football. But sometimes it's hard when you're playing the style of teams that you're playing to see that. And you just said it, like, during the game, you didn't know how dominant he was. You go back and you watch the tape. But those guys both made plays in that game where you're like, that's just freaky. Division I, SEC, ACC level stuff, and I think LaDamian tackled a guy, and it looked like the guy got mauled by a bear. And then Cam Cody, I thought the most impressive one was they ran away from him. And usually your nose tackle isn't supposed to be able to catch a running back coming vertically down the line, but he did, and it's just that stuff you see from a 230-pound defensive end. So both of those guys going to be big-time players at the next level.
Without a doubt, they're just both physical freaks, and it's awesome to have them on the same team. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully will continue to be. And both of those guys have just played very physical all year.
I think the only time we've really gotten to see them in a true pass rush situation was against Perry, and we kind of saw what happens when you get them in a true pass rush situation. It's the sack every other play.
Yeah, once Perry had to end up throwing at the end of that game, then it turned into a different level of, where those guys could just pin their ears back and go.
Most teams doing anything they can to not end up in that situation, and we're on to the next round of the playoffs. Coming up, 16 teams advanced from last week, and we are welcoming Cass from the Atlanta area, coming up, a very successful football team, 9-2 on the year. They got a big win over Mays last week. We'll talk about that one next right here on the Danny Britt Show.
Sapelo Straw Company. With Sapelo Pine Straw, you can expect fresh, clean pine straw, fast and reliable service, and a beautifully finished yard. We take pride in neat professional work. Call 912-254-1009 or look for us online at sapelostraw.co. The 2025 Taki Foundation Annual 5K 10K is almost here. Presented by Mike Hostelo Law. Get registered for this November 22nd event and get in the fight to provide education and service to diabetics in need. The run kicks off from How to Run, 11 Gateway Boulevard, South, Suite 54, Savannah at 8 a.m. Come walk, run, or even ride along. You can register right now. Go to the Taki Foundation's Facebook page and click. That's TALKI Foundation on Facebook. You can make a difference. BC Brothers Moving is Savannah's most trusted moving service. From residential to commercial to packing supplies, BC Brothers does it all. Let BC Brothers' energetic, trustworthy team wrap it, pack it, and move it for you. Check out BC Brothers online at bcbrothersmoving.com or give them a like. As the world's largest lifestyle retailer of recreational boats and yachts, MarineMax is dedicated to connecting people with life-changing experiences on the water. More than just a boat retailer, MarineMax offers a complete range of services. 3518 Old Tybee Road, Thunderbolt, and online at marinemax.com.
Cash and Carry wants to buy your car. New, used, running or not, miles don't matter. We pay cash on the spot. Fast, easy, and hassle-free. Call today. Cash and Carry, where your car turns into cash.
Live from BowTie Barbecue, another playoff edition of the Danny Britt Show. And Coach, the playoffs, man, you can't beat it in terms of intensity, big hits, and big plays.
Always. Playoff games are always exciting, but it's the work going on behind the scenes that determines if you are prepared and your chances for success. For nearly 25 years, Abel's Iron On Moore & Associates has done that for numerous families like yours. Supporting clients in 25 states, 2 foreign countries, contact Abel's Iron On Moore & Associates to make sure you're prepared for the big life moments as they arise.
And Coach Cass coming to town, and a very good football team, finished number 2 in their region, 9-2 on the season. Anytime you finish 9-2 in the second year region, probably coming from a pretty good region. And they get a big win over Mays last year. Just looking at them, watching the tape, kind of some stuff you can say very reminiscent of what you guys like to run offensively. They're going to be a shotgun a lot of trips and spread concepts and running some power football out of that.
Definitely. They do a good job of running and passing. They are about 50-50, which is what we try to do. So they'll do whatever is working, whatever they feel like they can have an advantage in the game. So they can do all of the above, and you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared to defend the entire field. So good football team.
I know a few really good players last week for East Forsyth. 16, I think we called his number about 75 times on offense. Who are a couple of guys you're circling for Cass in this one?
Yeah, there's a number of guys. They're their offensive skill guys are very good and athletic. Their running back, number 26, runs really hard, and he's about 170. I thought he was bigger than that. Watching the film, he's about 5'10", 170, but just runs really hard. And is fast and can make things happen. A quarterback, I've seen him. He looks incredible throwing the ball sometimes, and sometimes he look a little bit more average, but plays really hard. Is smart. Can move, so he can do things with his feet. And then they have a number of receivers. 7 being a primary one who they like. He's a speed guy. He runs a lot of the motion stuff. Runs jet sweeps with them. And then they have a big H-back that plays on defense for him as well. Number 9 who's 230-pound kid, can do a lot of different things and can catch the ball.
And it seems like they like to cut the field in half a little bit on offense, moving the quarterback out of the pocket, and just kind of simplifying decisions for him. What kind of challenges does that present defensively?
Yeah, I think, it can present some challenges, but in the same sense can be an advantage for the defense. Is when they try to cut the field in half by spreading out. Typically, it makes it a little easier to cover. So we hope that's the case. Now he does throw back against his body pretty well,
which is not pretty well.
So you have to be prepared for that. And, he does a good job. They have plenty of threats.
I was going to ask, typically you guys switch Gavin and LaDamian back and forth just based off what the strong side of the field is. do you maybe just line LaDainian up on the side that they're going to sprint out to where the arms are strongest? But from what you're saying right there, if he can go both ways, you just got to kind of stick to what you can do.
Yeah, there's a few different ways you can do that, but he can sprint out both ways. He's some guys are kind of stuck with that. They just sprint out to their strength. They're right-handed. They sprint out, right, but he can do either one and does a good job with that. So that really kind of takes that away a little bit. But we line up by formation anyway, and then Coach Houston has the ability to put them wherever he wants to put them. So
a lot of guys who play a lot of football defensively, so a switch up like that wouldn't be anything beyond what they're capable of.
No.
And then defensively for them, a lot of odd fronts from what it looks like, but not afraid to stack the box either and force you to throw the football.
No, and they are, typically just a 3-man front and, a 3-4 look, but can do a lot of different things. But they like their odd fronts, getting in a 5, like you said, getting a bear look. And, if we come in with our, power sets and forcing us to throw the ball, which, a lot of times we try to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, bring them in here, and then we'll take Bubba one-on-one.
Oh, 100%. I think something that really started to click a little bit for you guys the last few weeks is just that little 5-yard stop route where it's a hot route, and Steven's kind of reading, hey, if the corner's going to sit 10 yards off Bubba, he's going to run 3 yards stop, and I'm going to get the ball out to him. I thought it's kind of clicked a little bit more over the last few weeks.
It has, and, with Josh, I think he had like 4 catches on nothing but that.
I think he was the same as him last year in the playoffs where a team just did not come up to him, and it was 4 plays in a row where you hit him.
Yep. So, we definitely can continue to take that, and we like those guys, one-on-one out there.
And I know, again, you're getting to this point in the playoffs, not a lot of bad football teams left. And I thought what they did last week, you look at the score against Mays, I think they won by a touchdown in that football game. And going back and watching the tape, Mays, I thought was kind of upset because they thought their guy was still up a few times, and there's some early whistles in that football game. But I think it's a talent to know how to win a football game. And what I saw last week is Cass is a team that, yes, you guys might be heavily favored in this football game, but this is a team that's not unfamiliar with figuring out a way to win the game.
Definitely. They like you said, this is 4A football in the state of Georgia, and only 16 teams, so everybody's pretty good, and they know how to win, and there is something to be said for that. Without a doubt, there's something to be said for that, and they know how to do that. They've done that quite a bit, so it's going to be a major challenge. And
when you get to this point in the year, like we said, Makai's played so much football, and he's, I think, executing at a really high level. That pick last week, I think, an example of that. Didn't even talk about the other safety, Wyatt Esterbrook. Thought he had a great play where they tried to switch route him, came underneath on a slant, and he got up and made a big hit and disconnected the guy from the football. So you have a ton of guys defensively that have played a lot of snaps, seen a lot of football. You also have a lot of guys like Jameer Lee, Jonathan Black, who haven't been in this situation before, haven't played a lot of football like this. What's the communication like between those guys, just with the experience versus the guys who this is their first kind of run?
Yeah, I think the older guys just are telling the younger guys, just follow us, do things this way. This is how we've done it. This is how we've played in so many football games. I mean, I'm just trying to think, how many games has Larson played? I have to add it up, but he's played a whole lot of football games, and so they understand how to do it. They understand how to practice, how to take it to a certain level. So just follow those guys. Just do what those guys do, and you'll be successful.
And I know you don't want to think about legacy right now because it's not finally written for this senior group, but I mean, guys who a lot of them played in that 2022 season where you guys win a state championship with Luke Cromanhawk at quarterback in the rain against Cedartown in that stand. And just kind of going back and watching that game a little bit this week, Kevin and I were talking, and it's like you just look on the sideline, you're like, that face, that face, that face, that face. These guys are the ones who are high-fiving Simeon when he's coming off the field, but now they're in these big-time moments. Ton of huge game that these guys have played in, and I don't know that we've watched a team that just feels like this is where we're supposed to be. It doesn't feel like it's okay, it's the playoffs, it's time to turn it on now. It feels like this unit's a little bit different where they're like, no, this is the expectation.
This is the expectation. We felt that way the whole year when we played Colquitt County. We felt like we should have won. And, we played Buford, and we felt like we should have done way better than that. And all the way since that point, it's never changed. And we were 0-2, and of course, in the media, they're BC's 0-2. hopefully they're smart enough to realize that, who we had just played. But, the expectation is to be here and beyond. We've talked about it. There was no need in trying to hide that. We wanted to win a region championship. That was goal one, and we did that. And now the next goal is to win a state championship, and we realize we have to do that 1 week at a time. And this week is it's going to get more and more difficult every week.
I know Todd Holcomb and the AJC had you guys as the third toughest strength of schedule in the entire 4A. I don't know who the other two was because they're not in the playoffs. So somebody had a really tough season and must have had to schedule some really tough teams. But either way, incredibly tough schedule. And then you look at some of these other teams where their average margin of victory is like 41-10. And it's like against the 64th ranked strength of schedule. So I think that paying dividends, you kind of talked about what Kirby Smart said a little bit earlier, where it's if you're physical all the time, it kind of grates on the teams that aren't like that 365. If you guys are challenging each other from the spring into the summer, iron on iron, and then you go and play at Camden County, who's a very good football team in 7A, Colquitt, Buford, you're kind of setting the tone for the entire season right there. I think that's starting to pay off.
And that's what we do. That's what we try to do. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to push them the way we pushed them since February. It's not fun. I mean, August and September this year was not fun. And looking back, it was exhausting for me. Yeah. Much less for the kids and the other coaches, and because we just knew who we were playing and the level we had to get to and all of that. But the guys did it, and now, hopefully they can reap the rewards of it because we've been physical, and physical doesn't just apply to getting on the field and it's in the weight room. Yep. It's in how you practice. It's in how you condition. It's all of those things lead up to just being physical and intense, and then in the games, obviously it shows. And I think you ask anybody we've played, we are a physical football team. And in fact, that's what a lot of the guys, later down the road this season were saying, like, man, we even more physical than I thought y'all would be. We had 34 hit men last week. And so I was proud of that. Gave out 34 helmet stickers for big time contact last week.
There's a few pancakes at that football game.
It's quite a few
last weekend. I think just kind of going off of what you're saying, I think it's the reason why the program works as well as it does, because you take the football program and match it with the Catholic school where everybody has to get a haircut. I know I'm looking like me right now, but I graduated, so I don't.
Yeah, you're good.
Y'all can't get me anymore. But everybody has to follow a standard. You can't step out of line. There's codes of conduct. There's no seventh chance. You have to be a part of the system, and you have to be bought into that. And I think that matches very well with what you guys bring up on the football program. I think the community kind of buys into it too.
Without a doubt, it is, and it makes it hard. And everybody, I get it. It's not for everybody. And I tell people, hey, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And, hey, if you decide as an eighth grader that you'd rather keep your long hair than come somewhere that you think you can be great at, then you probably don't need to be there anyway. I don't really want to work with you, just to be honest. Yeah. And you can go do a whole lot of other things. You don't have to worry about. I had a kid the other day, he got a write-up, and I was upset about it. Like, my gosh, he had on the wrong color socks with his uniform, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But that's the way it is.
It's the little things, man.
It's the little things. That's the way it is. That's the kind of Benedictine. That's the way it's going to be. And yes, it all works together to lead to a great product.
It's about the inches, game of inches. And I think if you want to go play for a guy like Nick Saban, and he's yelling at you for your shirt being tucked in, it comes down to those inches in football. And we talk about how bought in this community is. How big is it that the crowd gets out there tomorrow night? I know you can kind of get into the habit of, hey, we won the coin toss. We'll be back next week.
Right.
But from what we saw at halftime last week, nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
And it is huge for these guys to be able to come out. I know we talk about noise all the time, but I think even bigger than that in high school is when you're 17, 18, and you look up into in the stands, and the stands are full, just kind of energy that gives you.
It does. The energy, and it's the direct opposite. You look up there and it's empty, and it is draining for the kids. Because they're like, man, I've worked my behind off all year to get here. I came to Benedictine to play at a place, to play in front of a crowd. That's what we promised and all of this stuff. When you look up and there's nobody there, it's draining. It's hard. So yeah, we need everybody to come out and support us. Make noise, have fun, and again, I know they're having another themed tailgate. So I think they're having some more bands come out. So,
Listen,
I mean, it's a party, baby.
There's a local magazine, and they put out their tailgate of the week. I don't know if that would have made it into the front gate of the tailgate that BC's got going on over at Memorial Stadium. Yeah. So there's nothing more fun to be doing on a Friday night. Come out, tailgate, and then go watch a really good high school football playoff game.
Right?
You can't beat it.
Yeah, no, what's better than that? Come on, let's come out. And then next week is Thanksgiving, and you can can get ready for that. But come out Friday night and come see what's going on at Benedict.
That's it. Before we let you get out of here, Coach, I'm going to give you a minute because, again, you were on this from the beginning of the season when nobody wanted to believe it. Make the Gunnar Stockman Heisman case for us right here.
Well, his numbers speak for themselves, but he has done an incredible job. They have played a very, very tough schedule. Again, same thing with us. Like, you can't look at these schools that are playing nobody.
Right.
And they, they've won and all that. No. Gunnar is the dude. He's done a great job. Mike Bobo has done a great job of calling. And, I hadn't heard all the crying lately about how bad Bobo is, but he's done a great job with Gunnar and his talent. And Gunnar's done a great job of playing to that. And right now, I think he's got to be the front runner.
I don't know if there's anybody more important to their team, not just because of his style of play, but how much his team believes in him.
Yep, and which ought to mean something. I think in our society we forget how that works. But anyway, it's he's done a great job. I'm very proud of him.
Again, big one coming up on Friday for you guys. Cass at Benedictine, 7:30 Memorial Stadium. Kevin Thomas and myself will be on the call on Watch BC Sports. But again, if you're in the Savannah area, please get out, watch the football game. It's a great atmosphere. They do a great job at Memorial Stadium. Get out beforehand, hit the tailgate up, and just have a great Friday night. And then Saturday, Sunday, you can sit on the couch. But we need you to get up and off the couch on Friday night. That's coming up tomorrow, 7:30 at Memorial Stadium.
Go Cadets.